Sashi Puki Jushen Metok Tram.
Go ahead. You're supposed to wait, but go ahead.
Sashi Puki Jushen Metok Tram. Again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, now.
Go ahead.
Shi Puki Jushen Metok Tram. Rirab Lingshi Ningde Gempati. Sangye
Shindu Mikte
Drogun Namdam Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Mandalakan Niratajami Sheda Shangye Shedan Soki Chonamla Jangshu Vardu Dagni Kapsuchi Daki Jinso Kipe Sonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangye Truparsho Sangye Chödang Soki Chonamla Jangshu Vardu Dagni Kapsu Daki Jinso Gipe Sonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangye Truparsho Sangye Chödak Soki Chonamla Jangshu Vardu Dagni Kapsuchi Daki Jinso Kipe Sonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangye Trupar Shok.
Yay. Okay, I have to show everyone something first. Maybe someone can make some money. Let's see how smart you are. I was working on dictionary today because I want to do such things. And look what I came across. Nga. What's that? Oh, I was gonna offer money. I should offer millions now. Someone put it in the chat. Ooh, 5 powers. Wow. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't offer any money. Okay, what 5 powers though? There's, look, I don't have the English here on purpose. What's this say? Three of us in a chat. Mute your microphone. What's that say, Rivas? It says there. Oh, did it say 5 powers? Yeah, that's what it says. Wow. Oh yeah, it said 5 powers on top. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is the 5 powers of Lojong Dunduma because there's 2 5 powers. This 5 powers is from is famously in the Yoga Sutra as well. Okay, I'm gonna give you a chance, Alex Rivas. Correctly translate the 5 powers from the Lojong Dunduma in Tibetan. Here they are. Come on, we just studied them. Somebody didn't come to review class this weekend. All right, fine. These are the ones we just did. The throwing one, the habituating one, the one where you rip it out, the one where you plant only white karma, and the one where you have a prayer, right? Like when you're dying, when you're about to die, like Geshi Chikawa. But no one cares about that. Fine. We'll do class. Anyway, it was fun for me. Wow, I really know how Geshe-la feels now. It's okay. Okay, here we go. We're starting the actual class. Here we go. Let's start with the notes. All right. So we are doing course 15. Yay! You know what that means. I'm almost done my homework. So the reason we're doing these courses is because one of my teachers sent me an email like 2 months ago that said, hey, if you don't finish your homework, we're gonna make you go to training to be an ACI teacher. And I said, no, I don't feel like it, because I don't actually want to be around anyone. So if I am forced to be around Alda for 2 weeks, I usually get really mad. And Rivas and Pau and all these people. I usually get, not Pau, Pau's cool. And I usually get mad. And so I want to stay home and just teach from Zoom. So they said, well, if you finish your ACI courses like 6 years ago and just didn't do your homework and have been teaching, just finish the homeworks and we can make sure that you become a teacher without having to go to those classes. You should go to them. I'm not going. Okay. And anyway, so then I'm doing these classes to review to get my homework done because I hate doing homework. All right. So, but I do like hearing myself talk. So now I'm forcing myself to finish my homework by forcing you to listen to me. Okay, so now we're on course 15, which is the last course of the regular courses in the ACI course. Yeah! And it's hard, okay? How many people are here? How many do we end up with? Like 12 or something?
21.
21, oh my God, we have a lot of victims. Okay, you should stay in the course. Why? Because the reason this course is hard is because you need 14 courses before it to get it. And this course is about the mind-only school of Buddhism. Mind-only school is this really messed up school. So I'll tell you something. I'm a translator of Buddhist books, not because I know anything, but because my Lama, either he loves me or he doesn't like me. I don't know. I can't. Either he really likes me or he doesn't like me at all. Otherwise, so he made me a translator and he said, Word, you're going to translate mind-only school. And I was like, what? I want to translate logic or Madhyamika. Madhyamika's sexy. It's cool. Mind-only is the nerdiest school. And then one day in class, my teacher said, hey, I gave you guys all books like your personalities. So I gave the book that was, you have to overthink and it's really annoying. All right, so I was like, oh wow, Lama, that's perfect, thank you. So I guess the only way to get a better book is to treat people better. But we all know that's not gonna happen. Okay, so this course is about a subject called Changye. Say Changye. Changye. To say it right, you have to open your mouth and go, nye, nye, nye. You can't use your tongue. Nye. Yeah, no tongue. Nye. No, you're using your tongue. Look. Nye. See, your tongue keeps going to the roof of your mouth. You can't. So Changye means in the art of interpretation. So about, I don't know. Yeah, about 2,500 years ago, the Buddha taught many things for about, I don't know, Lord Buddha taught for like 60 years or something, which is a long time. Comparatively speaking, Jesus only taught for like 3 years before he was crucified. So Lord Buddha taught for 60 years and taught a lot continuously. Many, many, many books were written from what he had said. And so, in the course of his teaching, he had different phases of his teaching. In the beginning of his teachings were maybe the more famous teachings you know of. He taught about the Four Noble Truths. He taught about the parts of the body, which is the 5 heaps, or the 12 doors of sense, or the 18 dhatus. You know, he taught about the wheel of life. You know, these teachings, which are very famous. And he taught that there was things and that they existed in a specific way, right? Life is suffering. There's a way out of suffering, right? There's a cause to the suffering. And there's an end to the suffering, right? Not in that order. Four Noble Truths. Things like that. And then some years later, he started to teach these things that sounded crazy. He said, well, you have no eyes, you have no ears, you have no tongue, you have no sense, you have no mind at all. And that's what he taught during the Heart Sutra. And these were very radical teachings. If somebody came up, let's say, I don't know, I would say the President of the United States, but that's different now. If AMLO came up one day and gave a speech and said, you have no eyes, you have no ears, you have no mouth, you know, you'd be like, what are you talking about, AMLO? Like, obviously I have eyes. I'm reading this on Twitter. Obviously I have ears. I'm hearing it on, you know, on the television, Telemundo. You know, obviously I have, obviously I have a mouth. Obviously you have a mouth. You're saying it. It wouldn't make sense. These teachings are extremely radical, and they're talking about emptiness, that nothing exists as it seems. Everything's an illusion. The mouth that you think you have, you don't have. The ears you think you have, you don't have. The eyes you think you have, you don't have. And these are extremely deep teachings that not everyone's ready for. They wouldn't be ready for it today, and they weren't ready for it then. The students he was teaching then were ready for it because they were all bodhisattvas and aryas and arhats and, you know, these different holy beings. And they had this incredible karma to be with the Buddha during his lifetime in India 2,500 years ago. And they understood these teachings. But then later on, after he had given a whole set of teachings that said, you know, everything exists. There's 4 Noble Truths. There's 12 links. There's 12 doors of sense. There's 18 parts to a person, etc. Right? All these things exist. And then for a while after that saying, no, those sense powers don't exist at all. Nothing exists. Like everything is illusion. Then somebody eventually came up to him and was like, hey Lord Buddha, like, love the teachings, man, but I don't know, I'm a little confused. You know, for like 20-something years, you said everything was like this. Then for like 20-something more years, you said nothing exists. You know, I'm a little, you know, and this this wasn't just like a regular person. This was a high bodhisattva, actually. This was a bodhisattva, someone who had achieved the wish for enlightenment, which is no small feat, okay, if you've ever tried. I last about 3 minutes, and then I'm like, I don't like Aldo. Like, everyone can get enlightened but Aldo, and then that's it. No wish. You know? It's like that. It's hard. Or like you get mad and it's like, I forget that. Or you're hungry and you're sleepy and you're like, I ain't got time for that wish. Right? It's very tough feat. So this is a highly advanced spiritual being. Right? And he asked Lord Buddha, which one is it, Lord Buddha? Does everything exist or does nothing exist? And Lord Buddha's like, well, you know what? Some things exist and other things don't exist. And so out of this teaching was born the mind-only school of Buddhism. And why it's called mind-only, we'll teach you later in this class. And because usually we study middle way. Middle way philosophy is what teaches the pen, right? Your karma ripens as a seed in your mind, and it goes like this on the parts of the pen, and then you have a pen, but to a dog, it ripens, and to them, it's a chew toy, and to a tantric deity, it ripens, and when they look at it, they get bliss. Okay? Those are your options. Which one do you want? So this then brings up a problem. And this is the problem of every religion, philosophy, spiritual teaching, ever. You have a teacher like the Buddha or Jesus or Socrates. ¿Cómo se dice Socrates en español?
Sócrates.
Huh?
Sócrates.
Yeah, Socrates. yeah. Exactly. Socrates. Or whomever, you know, Muhammad, okay, and after they die and they can't argue about it anymore, people start to interpret their teachings a different way. And that's why you have 73 different kinds of Christians: Protestant, Lutheran, Episcopalian, Catholic, Quakers, Shakers, Puritans. There's not too many Quakers around them. I mean, there is actually. If you hang out in Pennsylvania, there's some Quakers around actually. The Shakers died off, because they wouldn't have kids. So that's what happens if you die off. So anyway, so there it is. You have to determine a way to interpret the teachings of the spiritual teacher such that you can get the most out of it, so you can understand what they really meant. And so that's the name of this course, What the Buddha Really Meant. And I took this course the first time in 2000 and pretty sure that was 2012. No, 2011. One of those. It was the summer, I remember. And I was like, what the Buddha really meant, I'm skipping to that class. That's all I really want to know. And it was this course, and it was intense. Okay. And then I just started listening to all of them, all the ACI courses, because I was like, well, I listened to the last one. I might as well listen to all of them. But I didn't do any homework. That's why we're having this class, all right? So that's called Trange. Trange. Trang means figurative, and nge means literal. Don't look at this. This spelling is wrong. This is the transliteration. And this spelling, this is wrong too. These are the notes, okay? The spelling's wrong. If you want the real spelling, I'll show you. But you probably don't. Anyway, but there'll be some Tibetan class, okay? Because I'm a nerd, and specifically I'm a Tibetan nerd, And if there's no Tibetan class, I'll get bored and sleepy, okay? So I got to keep myself awake by torturing you with Tibetan words. And like out of the 21 of you, 20 of you, like 2 of you will want to learn Tibetan one day, okay? But we don't know which 2, so I have to torture all of you. Sorry. I've been torturing Rivas for a few years, and now he doesn't know what the 5 powers are, but he knows other stuff, okay? Come on, Rivas, you want to make money, you gotta stay on it. But he's a good translator. Oh, 1 second, hold on. Burning my dinner as usual. Okay. Here we go. So I already made you say it, but I'll say it again. Say Changye. I didn't see your mouth move, Kelly McGee. Uh-huh. Okay, Changye. That means figurative and literal, not spelled like this. So Changtun, this tun, it's not the right spelling. Ta naro, to na tun, D-O-N is it means meaning. It's the same as we have it over and over again. It means goal or meaning, right? It's the same. It's in Siddhartha's name. It's in Lord Buddha's name. Tunjup. Anyway, that means figurative. That means Lord Buddha said stuff. He once said, kill your mother and father, okay? And he did not mean that literally, please. Those are both 2 of the worst things you can do in all of the universe, according to Buddhism, right? What he meant was, when it comes time, stop listening to them, leave home, and go live your life so that you can get enlightened, okay? And that's really important. Some people don't do that. And if you're Mexican, you can still be at home and not agree with them, okay? I know a lot of you live home because, well, it's cheaper, first of all. I think that's pretty smart. Okay, so ngedun is the opposite. It means literal. Ne means definitive or certain. And tun is the same. It means meaning, okay? So that's the whole class. The whole class is on, is it figurative or is it literal? How do we know that? And how do we interpret the words of the teacher? Okay, so literal versus figurative. So when we saying literal versus figurative, what do we mean? First of all, Geshe says it's 3 ways in the course. So I'm just using notes for this course because I'm lazy. I did listen to the class. I did study this class. I've heard it like 4 times. But I don't like ironically, I don't like writing that much or typing. Someone already did all that work. So that's why we're using the notes. So if you're wondering. Yeah, so first of all, you can have literal versus figurative in the form of expressions. So can what Lord Buddha said be taken as literal versus figurative? When he said nothing has its own nature, was he really saying that? Or was he just exaggerating for effect or something, okay? Which sometimes a teacher will do. When Jesus said, it's easier to thread a camel through the eye of a needle than get a rich man to heaven, obviously no one's threading camels through needles, okay? No, he's exaggerating to give you the idea that, oh, wow, if you hold on to things, it must be very difficult to reach paradise, okay? Not if you're rich itself. If you're rich, help people. That's it. It's easy. No problem with that. Okay, so same thing here. kill your mother and father is an expression that is figurative, meaning what we just stated earlier about in your mind, disconnect from those thoughts that would stop you from being enlightened. What did we say in Lojong? What did they say in Lojong? About our belief system. Okay, it's on the final. You better know it. In the Lojong course, it says, in the sense of, in the sense of what we believe, we cannot hold on to beliefs from how we were raised or how we grew up as a means for determining how we should act. We should use the understandings of karma and emptiness as to determine how to act. Okay, same thing. All right. So literal and figurative in terms of reality. So does the way an object appear to us, is that the way it really is? So this is the pen thing, right? In a level of reality, things do not appear to us the way they actually are, right? Yeah, pens are pens and pens, right? But just because pens are pens and pens, right, doesn't mean that pens are pens in the way that they seem to be pens. And that explains all your problems. If things were the way they seem to be, then actually nothing could happen. That's a whole thing. But you wouldn't be confused about your life, okay? You definitely wouldn't need taking this class. Okay. And then 3, in terms of understanding, tema means like a valid perception. It's the subject of course 13 and course 4, for instance. Basically, are things really happening the ways that they appear to be happening, right? The way that when we look at them, we see them. Okay. All right, so this is what I just did. Okay, we're gonna learn this high bodhisattva's name though. Say Dundam. Dundam. Yangdak Pak. Dundam Yangdak Pak. All right. In Sanskrit, it's Paramartha Samudgata. Okay. Dunda means ultimate. Yangdak means correct. And Pak means Arya. It's quite a name. The name of the bodhisattva who asked the question about what's the real meaning of things his name was the ultimate meaning. Okay. Is that a coincidence? No. In comedy, you call it a plant. Okay, you plant someone in the audience and say, okay, you laugh really hard, even when my jokes aren't funny, so that everyone else starts laughing, okay? So, it's just like the Diamond Cutter Sutra. Did Subhuti not understand what's going on in the Diamond Cutter? No. Halfway through the book, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm an arhat. I already saw emptiness directly like 30 times or something. So, and by the way, I'm actually really the god of wisdom, Manjushri, disguised as a junior monk, okay? So you never knew who you're messing with. So this chapter in this famous book, I don't even think Geshe mentions the name of the book in class. The book is called the Sandini Nirmochana Sutra. In Tibetan, it's, I think it's Gongpo Ropsel. It means what the Buddha really meant. That's the name of the book. So in this chapter, the Bodhisattva asks, hey, which one of those things were really true? Does the 4 truths and the 5 heaps and the 8-fold Arya path and the 18 parts of a person, does all that stuff really exist? Or does nothing exist at all? Which one is it? Somebody tell me. Alguna persona, dígame. Rivas. They exist? So things exist from their own side, Rivas? So things exist. You guys can't let Rivas have all the fun, okay? Do they exist or not? Oh, so you're telling me pens exist? ¿Plumas existe? ¿Sí o no? So there's no chew toys in the world. I know who get this. I know who get this para cucharos. Oh, so there are chew toys. Sí or no? Yeah, of course. Thank you. Yeah. What Victor said in the chat, and Rivas. Yeah, of course. Things exist, but they don't exist the way you see them as existing. So there are 4 ancient schools of Buddhism, all right? Here they are. The middle way can be divided into 2 parts. So sometimes you could say there's 5 schools maybe, but generally we just say 4. And so from the foundation up, the foundational school is Abhidharma, okay? Also, you can call it Vaibhashika. Those are both fancy Sanskrit words, but that's what everyone calls them, even in English. They just say Abhidharma school. Literally, Abhidharma means the knowledge that will take you to like nirvana or something. And then you have the Sutra school, which in Sanskrit is what? How do you say sutras in Sanskrit? I taught you like 17 times in course 13.
Tantrika.
Oh my God, good thing I didn't offer money. Woo!
I should have held out.
I was just about to. Wow, good. Thanks, Kelly. You saved me. Perfect. South Tantrika. Did I say it right? I feel like South Tantrika. Yes. Yeah, okay, good. I did say it. Anyway, and then we have Mind Only School, which in Sanskrit is Chittamatra. In Tibetan, it's Semtsampa. They all mean the same thing. Chitta means mind, just like bodhicitta. Matra means only. Tem means mind, and Tampa, Tam means just or only in Tibetan. Okay, and then you have middle way, which in Sanskrit is Madhyamika. And this word Madhya becomes the word middle in English, or the word medio in Espanol. It just means middle, because Sanskrit is an older language in the same family as English and Spanish and Latin and Greek and Tocharian, if you know what that is, and Persian and Icelandish and bunch of other languages, Czech. Anyway, so, and the middle way school can be divided into two schools. Those are the lower middle way, which is called Sva Trantika, okay? Different than Sao Tantrika, okay? Why do I feel like I'm saying those wrong now? Okay, anyway, and then upper middle way is called Prasangika. Why is the upper middle way called Prasangika?
They are the sarcastic school that take it all the way to the concept.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect school for me and Aldo. Sarcastic school. Okay. It just means you give a statement that has an absurd consequence. Okay, wait. Sutra school is Sao Trantika, okay? And lower middle way is Sva Tantrika. Okay. That's correct. Woo. Anyway, you don't care about all that, but I explained it and now it's on the recording. Good. So what's the main thing that's different about each one of those schools? Anybody? Just yell it out.
Their concept of emptiness.
Yay, Kelly McGee. Kelly McGee is now your official. You're speaking for everybody, okay? Kelly McGee.
No. Okay.
Good, exactly. So each one of these schools has a different concept of emptiness, meaning a bunch of them are wrong. Basically, the pen thing is right, okay? And you can think about it. I mean, if you think about it for a couple of minutes, you can prove it to yourself. I mean, honestly, right? To see it directly on the stove one day, that might take a couple of years or something, okay? Study hard. Okay, so most of these schools are wrong. Who taught all of the schools? Come on, Kelly. You're okay.
The OG, Mr. Buddha himself.
Yeah. Someone else said it too. Who said it?
Rivas.
Rivas
In the
wrote
chat.
it. Okay, chat. I feel like Anna, her mom said it or something. But anyway, yes, you all said it. The Buddha. Hey, Alex Rivas, if you're going to write Buddha, you have to capitalize it, okay? Capital B. Yeah, it's okay. Just a heads up. Okay, so yeah, the Buddha wrote. So the Buddha's omniscient. So you're telling me an omniscient being taught most of the stuff he taught was wrong? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, so take the Buddha. Take the Buddha. He's omniscient, so he teaches everything wrong. It's verdad? It's true?
Yes.
So when you're omniscient, you don't know anything? Or 3/4 of what you know is wrong?
He knows everything, so he teach that something.
Say again, he knows everything, so he taught what?
He teach that for something.
For some reason?
They have a purpose for that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. She's right. It's just like your parents teaching you, saying Santa Claus exists. Okay? Is there a Santa Claus? No, no existing. Is it awesome to think there's a Santa Claus for the first years? Is there kids in the room? Okay, Alexito, Santa Claus existe. Claro que sí. Yeah, for the first 10 years or so, you have to say Santa Claus exists. First of all, so you don't ruin it for all the other kids, okay? Because if your kids are the only ones walking around, there's no Santa Claus, then all the other parents are gonna be mad at you. But either way, it's gonna be fun for the first 10 years. Then they don't care anyway, they're teenagers and they don't wanna talk to you anyway, right? Okay, so it's like that. Lord Buddha is teaching us things that are wrong because that's what we're ready for, right? What do they say in A Few Good Men? You can't handle the truth? Who's that? Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholas? Yeah, those guys. Yeah, you can't handle the truth. It's true. I mean, that's part of the reason you don't, if you don't think about emptiness all day, it's because it's too much for your mind. Think about it. Nothing exists. Everything comes from my mind. Not my mom. I mean, not Mexico. I mean, yeah, pens and stuff like that, but not my mejor amiga, not my best friend. Ella existe. Look, she's right there. I knew her my whole life. Right? Okay. Lord Buddha knows. Yes, Alejandra. You're right. I didn't say it. Look at the chat. Alejandra wrote the right answer. Okay. So understanding emptiness correctly, this is a quote in the book. Tongpa mishepa, drowa kyam. Tongpa is emptiness. It's very famous. Tong, and even in modern Tibetan, just means empty, like vacío. Vacío or vacío? Vacío? Vacío. Vacío. That one. There's an accent, I think. Okay. Yeah. It literally means like the room is empty. Like, do you have any empty rooms? Kangmik tong yupe, is there empty rooms? Like if you go to a hotel, it's the same thing. Like emptiness, it means like available, or like disponible. Like, is there space there? Is there space there? Mishepa means not. She means to get it, to understand. Entender. Droa means literally means those that go, but it refers to being, seres. And kyam means to wander. What does that mean? Beings that do not understand emptiness, those that understand emptiness wander helplessly, going around what? Wandering where?
Sansara.
Yeah. What's Sansara? Rialdo?
Korwa Kor.
You see. What's that?
The self-perpetuating
of life.
cycle of being driven by your past bad seeds to live in suffering and afflicted.
Exactly. And what's the main mental affliction that you creates that?
Misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding what? Blank and blank.
The second husband in the kitchen.
Yeah. Me and mine. Yeah. My body and my husband. Or my body and my parts, literally. Good, perfectly. So what Aldo said is true. So the reason you have all these problems is you don't understand emptiness, and then you get mental afflictions, and then you have karma to get mental afflictions and not understand emptiness. That's called a vicious cycle in English. En español no sé. Un ciclo vicioso? Rivas will tell you.
Yes.
Okay. That's right. I'm just making things up at this point. Okay. So the mind only school's understanding of emptiness is not completely correct. So I'm translating a book on the mind only school right now. It's called The Difficult Points of the Mind Only School. Somebody asked me, Aldo, is that class coming this week or was that last week?
No, I'm choosing a subject, but I think I'm gonna choose a easier one.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Aldo asked me, hey, Word, can I use a passage from your mind only book for my class? Do you have a good idea? And I was like, no, I don't. It's too hard. Do you know what that book's by Jason Kappa. Do you know what Jason Kappa called that book? He called it a very hard book on the mind only school. So if Jason Kappa calls something hard, you should run away as fast as you can, okay? Unless you want a headache. If you want a headache, come to my mixed nuts class this February, all right? All right, so, but I'll give you a headache right now, don't worry. So the mind only school has a view of emptiness, just like every school, and it is not completely right. But even though it's not completely right, how is it beneficial? Somebody please tell me.
It's the baby steps for the real one.
Yay. Or just even steps. Think about it. If you're going to Aldo's house, you got to walk up some stairs, right? If you just took some steps out, it'd be very hard. You'd have to try to climb, do a pull-up or something, or jump. You might not get very far, okay? Or you might hurt yourself. So Lord Buddha's system of teaching emptiness is one in which he gave various levels to the understanding of emptiness such that people could just walk up the steps when they were ready. And let me tell you something, okay? If you try to teach somebody emptiness at a level they're not ready for, you're going to hurt them and you're going to hurt yourself. And if you have bodhisattva vows, you'll break a vow. And the reason there is a vow is because teaching some people about emptiness when they're not ready can make it difficult for them to get enlightened, because then they'll be like, oh, these teachings are stupid. I don't want to hear anything more about nothing exists. Obviously things exist. I'm never going to go to words class again. He's stupid. These teachings are stupid. Bye. And then they'll create a karma to not be able to hear the teachings. Okay? Even Kelly McGee's cat loves my teachings, okay? The cat wants the teachings, Kelly. Don't stop it, okay?
Well, he's right here. He wants to eat my notebook.
Okay. That's his version of reading. All right. So that's why we have mind-only school. And that's why you have to study emptiness to get off the wheel. So you have to use skillful means to teach emptiness. What does that mean? That means what I was just talking about. That means you give people money when they come to your class because mind-only school is so hard. Or maybe I haven't actually given any money, but last course I did. I didn't pay it yet. I said I'd give it, okay? So you use skillful means. Otherwise, it's just like kids, right? You have to make things into a game. Hey, kids. Or that's why they put sugar in kids' toothpaste or whatever they're making the flavors. If it was just white paste that tasted like herbs and fluoride or whatever, kids wouldn't want to brush their teeth. And then they would turn 14 and all their teeth are falling out and you'd have to pay the bill. This is skillful means. Find a way to get people information like Lord Buddha did, even if they don't even know that's what they're getting. Okay? That's the whole mind-only school. It's skillful means. You have to be sneaky sometimes, all right? And also, they say a bodhisattva, this is what Master Chandrakirti says in Entering the Middle Way. He says a bodhisattva wants infinite reasons, infinite understandings of emptiness, infinite arguments about emptiness. So this is what the other thing we mean by skillful means to teach emptiness. Learn all the tricks. Luckily, I grew up with these kids who used to argue all the time. Maybe they were Buddhas. Okay? And I learned all the arguments. And so I can trick you. I'm tricking you right now. You came to my class, you've been tricked, okay? Who would study mind-only school without getting tricked? All right. Now, this is really famous, and you should know it. If Lord Buddha said, if this goes for the Buddha, it goes for me about 1 billion times more. Don't trust anything I say. Everything I say, you should. Lord Buddha said it as a metaphor. He said, melt it, cut it, or rub it. Sometimes you hear not only rub it, but use a touchstone. I don't know how to say touchstone in Spanish. Do you know what a touchstone is, Rivas? Hold on and I'll get it for you. Oh, piedra de toque. It means you get something, and if it's gold and you touch it to it, it changes the right color. If it's not gold, it changes a different color. All right? And so that's why Lord Buddha says, he says, Ngai ka sekche tar ser shingu chirmin. Okay, nai ka, my words, my holy words. You should melt them, sek. You should cut them, che. Same as the diamond cutter, vajra cherika. And you should file them, right? You should, as if shin, they were gold, ser.
Doesn't touchstone have another meaning in English too? Like something you keep coming back to, something you refer to over and over again?
I think it does have that meaning, but I think it has that meaning based on the fact that touchstone confirms something. You know, we can look it up, but that's why I think it has that meaning. Like, what's your touchstone? What's the thing that confirms everything is correct to you? You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's a connection there to the Buddhist teaching also, like the thing.
Oh, the basis. Yeah. That's good. So each one of these three has a specific meaning. So this is very famous in India. Even today, many people, you see them wearing a lot of gold. That's because they don't trust banks. And they don't trust the rupee, I guess. They don't trust money. So they buy gold, right? Literally. I mean, since COVID, for instance, gold prices have gone through the roof. If you follow the stock market, if you follow commodities, you know gold has gone through the roof. Why? Because people think, oh, these economies are all going down, but gold is always going to be worth something. Okay. Unfortunately, you can't eat gold, so that's a problem. Anyway, if someone sells you gold, if you're going to give them your life savings for gold, you want to make sure it's real. And there's 3 tests, famous tests to make sure gold is real. You can melt it, you can cut it, or you can file it down. Sometimes they say touchstone. Rivas has to figure out how to say that in Spanish. Toque, piedra de toque. That's what Google Translate said. Anyway, so by melt it, they mean have your own direct experience, right? This is a direct perception. By cut it, it means using logical analysis. Like, you don't necessarily have a direct perception of it, but you understand it through logic. And then filing it or rubbing it, it means that you take it on authority from somebody and you believe it. Okay? And you have to be careful with this one. I just realized today, I was listening to the news today, as I'm wont to do. And in our country, the United States right now, we just had an election. And many people believe that the election was rigged or fake. And they have no evidence for this. Their only evidence is the fact that someone that they believed in said so, which is to them Donald Trump. Donald Trump said it's rigged, so they believe it's rigged. And that's very powerful. It's very powerful to give somebody in your mind authority. Because once you do that, then anything they say can then pollute your mind for good or bad, right? I guess if it's polluted, it sounds bad, right? Change your mind for good or bad. So be very careful with this one. You know, use the first 2 so much, you know, that the third one makes sense. You know, like, oh, Geshe Michael said, oh, it's a pen, but then it's coming from us. But I never had the direct perception of that. But dogs do play with them. Does seem like it's a juguete to the dog. Like that. You have to use your mind. Sometimes for years. They say sometimes 12 years. Okay? So be careful with your mind. It's the most powerful real estate on earth. Okay. So what they call those 3 instances or eras, I don't know, time periods of the Buddhist teachings. The first one where he said, okay, there's stuff like the Four Noble Truths, there's stuff like, you know, all the other stuff I said, the 12 links. And then the second time where he said, There's nothing exists, you know, like in the Heart Sutra or the Diamond Cutter. The Diamond Cutter is very famous, right? He's constantly talking about how to Subhuti, the questioner in that book, about how there's nothing. And it could be very confusing if you don't have a Geshe Michael Roach explaining it to you, okay? That's the second period of teaching. And then the third period of teaching is when it started when the Bodhisattva, whose name is Dundam, oh my God, Dundam Yang Dakpak, he asked the question, which one was it, Lord Buddha? The things exist or the things not exist? When he asked that question, he started the third turning of the wheel. So these are called the 3 turnings of the wheel. Very famous. Which turning of the wheel is right?
All of them.
All of them?
Well, I mean, in a sense, all of them, but really only the second turning of the wheel is right.
Which one is it? All of them or the second?
Second.
The second is right?
Yeah.
So when you debate someone in Buddhism, you should present to them something that they don't know yet? I thought that was the first rule of debate.
No, got to present something that they know. So I guess if you're talking to somebody, if it's all about skillful means, it's that the first turning of the wheel is right first.
It's that the turning of the wheel is right for the person who is having the perception that it's right. But for that to be true, then the second turning of the wheel has to be the right one. That's the joke. Okay, they're all right depending on the person, but if that's true, then the second one has to be the right one.
And what's you said this starts the third one, but like, what is the third one?
The third one is the one in which there's the mind-only school, which says sometimes some things are real and sometimes some things aren't real. We'll get into that. That's the whole course, Kelly McGee. Don't worry. We'll answer that question so much, you're going to just all of a sudden leave the Zoom and be like, me and my cat are really busy. We have something else to do. You know, the cat. Yeah. It's called the turning of the wheel of fine distinctions. You know, it's not that everything exists. It's not that nothing exists. It's that, you know, some things exist and other things don't. Okay? It's in between. So we have to be careful not to judge others. You never know why a teacher is teaching what they're teaching, or even why a student is acting the way it is, acting the way they are. Okay, sure, it seems like Aldo is confused and doesn't understand any of this, but maybe he's Manjushri pretending like he doesn't understand anything to teach me to be more humble. If that's what you're doing, Aldo, it's not working. Okay? But again, you don't know what's in someone's head necessarily unless you're a clairvoyant, okay, or a Buddha. All right, moving along. Say Changye.
Changye,
Lekshe.
Lekshe,
Ningpo.
Nimpo.
Yeah. Changye Lekshe Ningpo. Changye is the art of interpretation. Lekshe means to say it well. Where do you hear lek in Buddhism? Another place. Nice, three of us. I was thinking about offering money. Lexo. It's the end of the Heart Sutra, right? It means, oh, good job, good job. Shariputra. Lord Buddha says it's the Shariputra. Good job, good job. Okay. Yeah, so this is the name of our book. You don't have to remember the Tibetan. You're cooler if you do. Okay, but you don't have to. This is in the English, The Essence of Eloquence on the Art of Interpretation. And this was written by the great, the matchless, the untouchable scholar from the Himalayas, the snow-capped mountains of the top of the world, Jason Kappa. Okay, has everyone heard of this gentleman? Okay. He's one of the great world teachers, okay? I don't know any being in the history of the world, literally, that has written as much and deep philosophy as Jason Kappa. I personally do not. If you want to show me someone, then you can. And I'm not being sectarian. I'm just telling you that that's true. He wrote like the deepest 10,000 pages of philosophy you could ever study. And I'm translating one of his books right now. It's insane. It really is. It's really difficult. And who knows? They say he was Manjushri himself. Okay, like he was a god of wisdom already. That seems more likely than a regular person wrote that book. Okay, his dates are 1357 to 1419. All right, so you should remember that. All right. And here you go. Dode Gongzhel is the primary source for the teachings of the mind-only school. This is the book that explains the meaning of the chapter that the Bodhisattva asked the question. Is that right? Something's wrong. Okay. Okay, yeah. This is Lord Buddha's. Okay, this is the Sandi Nirmochaya Sutra. This is the sutra where the Lord Buddha explains what he really meant. Okay, good. All right. And the sutra requested by the Arya named Never Ending Wisdom, this is the source for the Middle Way's explanation of when Lord Buddha was speaking literally or figuratively. Okay. That's it. Okay, now we're going over the homework. Is there any questions? Nothing. All right. I'm just going to keep going. Okay, here's the answers to the homework. If you want to do the homework, this would be a great time to do it. And then you can just study the homework. And then, so for the people who don't know, the end of each class is going to be the homeworks. And starting next class, the beginning of each class is going to be the quiz for the previous class. So beginning of class 2 will be the quiz for class 1, because you're going to have 2 days, approximately 2 days, I guess exactly 2 days, to study what we learned in the previous class. And then we'll do that all the way to class 10. This course will not have a final review. Why? Because my teacher, Holy Geshe Michael, is teaching the Medicine Buddha Sutra. I encourage you all to go. It's amazing. It's fun. I had the distinct honor of getting to having to translate it with Geshe-la in a series of classes that he gave, which was very fun. And so I encourage you to come to the retreat. I don't know, I guess go on ACI, AsianClassicsInstitute.org, and they'll say stuff about how to pay and stuff like that. I don't know. Ask Aldo, he does that stuff. Okay, or Powell. Powell does a lot of that stuff. Okay, so what the Buddha really meant. Class 1, question 1. Give the title of the primary text we'll be reading for our study of the art of interpretation. Name its author and give its dates. Our study will be based on the essence of eloquence on the art of interpretation written by Jason Kappa, 1357 to 1419. Done. We just went over that. Here's the Tibetan. Changye lekshe ningpo. Jason Kappa. Okay. Question 2. Our text compares and contrasts the beliefs of the two great schools of classical Indian Buddhism, the mind-only school and the middle way school, about what Lord Buddha really meant and how to determine what Lord Buddha really meant when he turned the wheel of the Dharma. Name the important source that each school uses to make this presentation and the author of each. Okay, so the mind-only school source is on that question asked by the Bodhisattva from the Sandini Nirmochana Sutra. Okay, and that Bodhisattva's name was Paramartha Samudgata. Okay, Gata is the same as Gata, Gate, went. He completely went, Samud, something like that. He completely went to the perfect meaning or something, the ultimate meaning. And that's the 7th chapter of that 10-chapter text. And that's Lord Buddha's own teaching. Someone asked him in a teaching and he answered them, and that became the beginning of the mind-only school. And B, the middle way. I just mentioned it. The middle way school makes this presentation based on the sutra taught at the request of the realized being named Never-Ending Wisdom. And if you care, his name is Pakpa Lotru Misipe Shupedo. Shupedo is requested by. This is the Arya's name. Pakpa Lotru Misipe. All right. Okay, I'm giving you all the answers. This course should be easy. Question 3. Nowadays, some people say that a knowledge of emptiness is not the main point of Buddhism, while others say emptiness is something known only intuitively and not from a foundation of determined, organized study. Describe a quotation by Lord Buddha himself that disproves these ideas. All right. Jason Kappa himself gives a quotation from the sutra requested by the realized being Rashtrapala, which says beings must wander here in suffering life because they have no knowledge of the ways of emptiness, and that those with compassion, meaning the Buddhas and others, use skillful means and millions of different reasons to bring them into it. Okay, that was, do I remember how to say in Tibetan? Tongpa Mishipe Droa Kam. Okay, they wander, those beings wander because they do not understand emptiness. Right? Estos seres wander. ¿Cómo se dice wander en español?
Deambularon.
¿Yamularon?
Deambularon o vagaron.
Oh, yeah. Ambular is like ambulate, to walk around. And
Deambular.
deambularon. Yeah, and vagaron is like, in English we have vagary, right? It means to wander. Vagrant. Good. Okay. Gracias, Aldo. Okay, so yeah, so that's why you need many, many reasons to bring them into emptiness, because Kelly McGee is going to respond to one thing and Berta is going to respond to another thing. Alejandro is going to respond to another thing. Rivas, you have to have many different skillful ways to bring people into the Dharma. All right. And if you don't, they'll just walk away and go do something else, which, you know, people do. Number 4, why do we have to learn to distinguish between literal and figurative? And why do we have to learn to interpret what the Buddha said in order to find out what he really meant? This is primarily to learn the true meaning of emptiness, which was described in 3 different turnings of the wheel of the Dharma in apparently contradictory terms for Lord Buddha himself, by Lord Buddha himself. That was the whole beginning of class I explained. How can you determine what's real? What makes sense when Lord Buddha was really saying things that you should listen to? By the way, I mean, do pens exist? Can you write with a pen?
Yes.
And is it true that pens don't exist at all in a certain way?
Yes.
So are those ideas actually contradictory at all?
Not really.
No. With a good explanation, which Jason Kappa is extremely famous for giving, and his perfect lineage disciple, Geshe Michael, is extremely famous for giving. The first and second turning wheels are actually not contradictory at all. And you don't need the third turning of the wheel. And I don't need to be translating this book. But my karma is not that good. Okay, 5. Describe 3 different levels of the terms literal and figurative. Okay. On the level of expression, do the words a person says and their intended meaning match each other, literal and not figurative? Okay. I'm trying to think of an example that doesn't involve curses. Hold on. Maybe I should just use the one. If I tell someone, go blank yourself, am I actually telling them to do that? No. You're saying leave me alone or go away. What, Aldo? Someone laughed.
Sometimes.
Yeah, maybe once in a while. Yeah, you have to, and if someone says that to you and they have a certain expression on their face and say it really loudly, you know they're just mad at you, okay? So in the ways of expression, it's not literal, it's figurative. It means they don't like you in that second. Okay, on the level of reality itself, does the way an object appears to be and the way the object is match each other? Okay, if it does match each other, it's literal. If it's not, it's figurative on the level of reality itself. And on the level of understanding, do we understand the 2 realities with an accurate state of perception? Or do we understand them with only an approximate understanding? Okay, an approximate understanding would be figurative, and an accurate state of perception would be literal. Okay, so like, tema means like a valid perception. Like, are things the way that they really appear? Or do you have a kind of understanding of how they are? Okay, that's a whole thing. How many? Okay, we're almost done. Am I gonna finish class early? Maybe. 6. Jason Kappa points out that if what the Buddha said must be divided into what he said that was figurative and what he said that was literal, then the Buddha's own statements about when he was being figurative and when he was being literal cannot be necessarily be taken literally. You understand? If I keep saying, hey, nothing exists, and and then sometimes saying, hey, some things exist, and then I say, hey, you should believe me when I say nothing exists, but don't believe me when I say something exists, then can you, just because I say believe me now, does that mean what I'm saying is true?
Not necessarily.
No, Kappa not necessarily the case. So Lord Buddha advises us to accept his words only after we've finished a careful examination of them, testing them like gold in the fire, by melting, by cutting, or by using a touchstone, or by filing, okay? There's both translations. These three tests refer respectively to checking whether the particular statement or belief is in question contradicts our own direct, accurate experience, our own deductive, accurate perceptions, or the words of a being whom we've established correctly as being infallible. Okay? And be careful with that last one, please. And if you're going to use logic, also be careful. Make sure your logic is good. Take course 13. Not with me, though. Take it with someone who's good logic. All right. 7. If many of the beliefs of schools like mine only are actually wrong, then why is it so important for us to study them carefully? I gave a reason earlier. I'll give you the real reason why you should study mind only school. I'll give you the reason Holy Geshe Michael probably made me translate the mind only school. I mean, in the sense that I said yes when he asked me. Because we believe mind only school. You don't even know what mind only school believes yet. And I can tell you that you already believe mind only school. How, you know how I can tell? Watch. Kelly McGee. You ready?
Yeah,
You-
I'm
okay.
ready.
Do you know about the teachings on mind only school?
Only a little bit.
Yeah. So not really, right?
Mhm.
I can tell you're already a mind only school practitioner. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Do you get mad sometimes?
Yes.
Do you get mad? Do you not get mad other times?
Yes.
Welcome to mind only school. Do you sometimes think, hey, that's empty?
Yes.
Yeah. And do other times you like, that definitely exists. That person is definitely a blankety blank.
Yes.
Yeah. Mind only school.
Wouldn't that be also like lower middle way in a way?
In a way that we're not discussing right now, Aldo. Yeah. Well, that's a whole thing. We're gonna get there. That's classes 9 and 10 of this course. And if you really want a headache, you're gonna have to stick with us for about 3 weeks, okay? Aldo's right. Mostly Aldo's right. Okay, I'll answer Aldo's question. Maybe everyone else will be confused. I don't know. Aldo, you ready?
Yep.
That's not exactly what the lower middle way says. The lower middle way says the only reason we're able to perceive the blank hole as a blank hole is because the parts of a blank hole show up. But without those parts, there would be no blank hole. The mind only school would say it is that in this sense, it's the parts of a person or someone who appears to be a blank hole has some nature of their own.
But
Not only the parts, but the person itself.
okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the parts be a part of the person? as well. So lower middle way is like a 50-50, no?
Yeah, lower middle way is 50-50.
Yeah.
But you can't have, lower middle way believes you can't have the projection without the parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mind only school says you can still have a jerk without you having to project onto parts. Woo!
But they both come from the same seed, right?
That's a whole, yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right. But I'm not going to explain that because everyone else's head's going to explode. All right. But maybe we can explain it. We're going to have more time.
Can I ask a
Okay.
different question?
Yeah.
Are there, one thing I've never understood, are there currently some lineages or schools that would argue one of these is correct? Like we're saying in all of this, Majumika is what's accurate and the rest are not totally accurate. Are there people out there who actively now would be like following another one of the other ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Mind only. Okay. Generally speaking, this is all 2,500 years ago. It's just a philosophical school. No one cares anymore in that sense, right? Like in the sense of like no one's like part of that school and fighting each other, right? But actually, the mind only school has made a huge resurgence in recent history. Yeah, it's actually really popular. People are very interested in it, especially in East Asia. It's very popular in China and Japan. I think that has to do with the history too, because for some reason, those teachings got popular classically in those regions too, through the teachings, especially of Master Vasubandhu. And that's a whole other thing. But yeah, there's all these scholars who study mind only school right now. They're like, ooh, mind only, ooh. And it's like a thing. I guess for good or not, I'm going to be one of those scholars. I'm going to have to pretend to be like, yes, mind only. I'm going to be a sheep in wolf's clothing. Yes, the short answer, Kelly, is yes. Yeah, for good or bad or whatever. It's and they have like meetings, you know? It's like Black Republican meetings. Okay. How can the principle of figurative and literal be useful to us? Sorry, Black Republicans, in our daily lives. Okay, we can come to a better understanding that if the Buddha himself spoke figuratively when it was helpful to students to do so, then we must be careful in judging the people around us who could well be special beings who are trying to bring us and others further along in our thinking. So maybe your mom isn't crazy, is the point. Okay, that's the point of all of Buddhism. And I'm gonna like, maybe she is though, I don't know. Okay. Ask me your questions now before I get hungry. Nothing? Come on.
Does it have to be on this material?
No, anything. Go ahead.
One question.
What does the word mikme mean in Tibetan?
Mikme? Wow, that's a great question. Mikme te wei te chen chen rei si. Do you know that mantra? What? That's Jason Kappa's mantra.
Wow, can you say it again? Mikme.
That's the first line. Mikme te wei te chen chen rei si.
Me te we te.
Yeah. Yeah. You are, oh, Jason Kappa, you are like the very God of compassion himself, who is a gold mine of understanding that things have no nature of their own. Mikme. Mikme literally means not to see. Mik means to look at or an object. Me means not, right? So literally it means not see, or something that has no object. It's not there. It means it doesn't exist, but it's just a code word for emptiness. Because they say the greatest love in Buddhism is when a being can look upon you, understanding that you don't exist at all. Salute. Does that sound like love? I look at Leah and she's not even there. I love her so much.
Wow.
What did Jason Kappa say about monks who look at people as if they exist when he acts towards them?
They're not really bodhisattvas?
They're immoral. Right? Because Mikme means to see things with emptiness, to see them as having no nature of their own. And that's the only way you could love them. And if you don't love things that way, one day when you get a divorce, you'll be like, I hate you. What? I thought you loved me. Well, I hate you now. How could you have loved me and now hate me? By definition, that's impossible. It must mean that the me you loved didn't exist the way you thought it did. And the me you hate also couldn't exist the way you thought it did. Understand?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
One question.
Sí. Mándeme.
Okay. Good night. If we study emptiness, can we light up seeds of understanding emptiness in ourselves?
Oh, well, that's one of those chicken or the egg questions. Do you guys have that in Chile? Chicken or the egg? Huevo,
Here,
huevo o gallita. Gallitito.
el huevo, ¿qué fue primero, el huevo o la gallina?
Yeah. Light up,
Hold on, listen. To study emptiness, you have to have seeds for emptiness to show up. But if you don't study emptiness, then you can't water the seeds of emptiness that you already have. So yes, the short answer to your question is yes. Long answer is what I just said. You got that, Rivas? Okay. ¿Entiendes, por favor?
Yeah, you need the karma.
Yeah, that's always the answer.
Yeah, but finally you are lighting up another seeds anyway, little bit, and you're growing.
Yes. Exactly. Buena pregunta. Okay, other question.
I have one other question from another class that you mentioned in passing. Why Vasubandhu wrote the Abhidharma Kosha, that he was forced to? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, let me show you something first, Leah, okay?
Okay.
Because the only way to prove something is by being a nerd. Look at this. What?
Is this Micmay?
Yeah, 1 second. My screen sharing, something wrong. Okay, yeah, you see this? What's that say?
Micmay.
Yay, what does this say?
Chongyi.
Yeah, what does tong mean? We just did it, tongpa.
Yi is me. That's the 5 forces.
No, tong, empty,
Oh, right.
emptiness. It's the same exact meaning. Mikmei means emptiness.
Got it. So literally it means like one thing, like without seeing, but it actually means emptiness.
Yeah, it means there's nothing there, but it refers to emptiness. And that's reflected in the Chinese too. The Chinese says basically you can't see it, but it refers to Kong Xing, which just means emptiness. Got it?
Yeah, super helpful. Thank you.
Okay, watch. That's funny. That's not gonna be helpful. Okay, good. All right. All right. Oh yeah, so you want to know about Master Vasubandhu and his half brother Arya Sangha?
Well, I want to know why Vasubandhu wrote the Abhidharmakosha. Was he forced to?
Yeah. So you want to know about Master Vasubandhu and his half brother Arya Sangha?
Okay.
Okay, kids. I'm gonna tell you a story. It's almost bedtime.
Yes, yes.
Barbara is already in bed, so I can tell. Okay. So once upon a time, there was a nun, and she was an amazing practitioner, and she practiced the secret teachings. And she was doing a sadhana for Chenresig, right? Mikmete we terchin Chenresig Aviloki Teshvar. Okay? The God of compassion. The master of Lochong, okay? So she got a vision from Avalokiteshvar that she should stop being a nun, which is a big deal, and become a layperson again, and have 2 children, one with a priest, a Brahmin, and one with a king. And she did that. And those sons became Master Vasubandhu and Arya Asanga, 2 of the greatest Buddhist teachers in world history. I think Arya Asanga was the son of the king, and Master Vasubandhu was the son of the priest. Anyway, they were very accomplished masters. And one day, after years, Arya Sangha started to talk about Mahayana, the teachings on compassion and bodhicitta and becoming a Buddha. And Master Vasubandhu, I believe, if I remember correctly, criticized him and said, "Oh, that's bullshit." And then Arya Sangha, who, if you remember, was taken to Lord Maitreya's paradise by the next Buddha himself, after doing his sadhana for 12 years perfectly, right? Master Vasubandhu went to one of his brother's teachings, and within one class, he was like, oh my God, this is all true. This is the greatest teachings. I was wrong and I criticized the Dharma. And because I criticized the Dharma, I'm going to cut my own tongue out to punish myself. Okay? Okay, these Buddhist masters, they don't mess around, all right? So Arya Sangha was like, you could do that, brother, or maybe you could just write a book, okay? So he asked him to please write a book on the Abhidharma for to benefit the world for, I guess at least the next 1800 years, because this is, or 1700 years. This is about 1700 years ago. And so he wrote that book. But Master Vasubandhu was a very high mind-only scholar and didn't believe what he was writing, but he still wrote it down perfectly. So at the end of the sentences in the book, it will say sero. Ser means to claim, to make, to say something that might not be true. Ro is just a period in Tibetan. So sero, he said, because he said, I'm just reporting what they said. They said this and they said that. Believe what you want. I don't believe it. I don't study this. I don't believe in this school, but I'm reporting what they said.
So it's very related to what we were talking about tonight, actually.
Yes, it is, the booty. Thanks. All right. Yeah, but don't anyone cut their tongues out, okay? It's okay. Just practice. Good question. Woohoo! Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, if you're bored in this class, you're going to be more bored in the next one, okay? It gets worse. The class is very difficult. You should still study it. I don't know. I used to study these teachings in my room all alone for years. And then one day, a famous Lama came up to me and was like, hey, I'll pay you to study the mind-only school. How does that sound? I said, well, it sounds better than not getting paid to study mind-only school. I might as well. No, you never know where these teachings can go. These are extremely beautiful teachings, extremely powerful. And honestly, I don't know any other lineage that puts it as clearly, personally. Maybe you know of one. If you know of one, you should study that one too. Okay? So please come to all the classes. And then next year, 2021, if we all still exist, 2020 is not over yet. There could still be some more apocalypse, okay? I don't know. If we still exist next year, January, February, I'm going to teach course 17 and 18 because those are the last courses I have to do to finish my homework. This is all very selfish, okay? I'm a very selfish person. One day I'll be a bodhisattva, but not today. Okay. Okay? No hay preguntas? No tiene preguntas? Okay, good. All right, who wants to say mandala? Jules, you want to see to learn some Tibetan? Come on. Come on. You just have to say one word. One word. She's like, why did I leave my video on? I messed up. You ready? Come on. Adelante. All right. Come on, come on. She's almost there. Come on.
I word.
Yay!
So,
You can look at your phone after class. Don't worry.
sorry?
You can look at your phone after class. I'm watching you. Here we go. You ready? So all you have to do is yell Sashi, okay?
Okay, just one word.
Okay, and then you're gonna yell Gewa after that, okay?
Okay.
I'll tell you when, okay? So
But who's gonna continue? You?
I'll continue. Just yell Sashi.
Awesome.
Go. Ba.
Sashi.
Uki jokshin mek tok tram. Rirab ling shir nende padi. Sange shingdu mikte ulwargi. Jokun namdak shingla chupashok. Iram guru ratna mandalakam niryatayami.
Ewa.
Ikewokun. Tsunam yeshe tok tok shing. Tsunam yeshe lejungwe. Dampa kuni topar sho. Yay! Good job.
Thank you, word.
Jules, did you have to close down El Monasterio during COVID?
Yes, I did, like for 2 months.
Is it open now?
Yeah, now it's open.
Okay, everyone go to El Monasterio. It's a beautiful little holistic center
Yeah.
close to Avenida Patria in Guadalajara.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Rivas.
Oh
Thank you,
yeah.
Word.
Oh yeah, Rivas did stuff.
You told us to remind you to water your plants. So water
Oh my
your
God,
plants.
thanks. I should have told you to tell me to turn off the heat on my food. Now it's burnt. I gotta eat burnt food. It's not that burnt. Okay, I'll water the plants so my friend doesn't come home and her plants are dead. Okay, muchísimas gracias.
Word.
Thank you, Word. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you, Victor. Everybody do your homework and there'll be a quiz on Wednesday, same time, and we'll finish the course and then everybody will do Medicine Buddha and then COVID will be over, okay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ow, ow.
Thank you.